Hey guys, my name is Alan Fox. Welcome to my channel, and we are finally doing another movie review. I usually avoid full movie and TV show reviews because there is so much to talk about, and I'm just gonna be sitting here talking for hours and I just can't upload that. So it takes like every bit of courage and convincing to get myself to do this because I really want to. There is so much to talk about. So here we are. Hopefully this would be a less than 20 minutes long video, so let's get right into it. So your girl has her handy dandy notes right here, and let's begin. My little introduction towards the notes. The ones in the boxes are names. These are the names of the actors, the safes, and then the characters, because every time I watch a movie, I literally have no idea what the names of the characters were, because you cannot expect me to meet someone once and remember their name. I don't have that sharp a memory, so I just wrote them down. Let's begin.
For this video today, I will be switching into English for my international friends and fans.
So the movie begins with introducing us to the main character called Sebastian, a German man who's also a YouTuber, and he makes these really informative videos, unlike yours truly. And he tells the story about this locksmith who made 4 safes and locked himself in the last one. The safes are uncrackable unless dealt really gently, and he basically is practically in love with that whole idea and that whole story. So when I realized that he was making YouTube videos, I thought, okay, this is probably after the heist. He's sitting here like that BuzzFeed Mafia Don interview, and he's giving the backstory about the safes, and then he's going to tell how he's the man who cracked them all. But no, we're not that cool yet. And even though we were not that cool, the entire idea of these safes being uncrackable and the man who built them committed suicide in the last one, all of that added this element of uniqueness to the movie. Unlike some spy movies that I've been seeing recently, they just seem like a copy of every other movie there is. When you're making a spy movie or, anything like that, obviously you cannot bring an idea that is completely out of this world. Something is already going to be done by someone else. So what you can do is bring your special element to it, bring something in that movie that sets it apart from other movies. Now, this did have a zombie apocalypse going on, but that didn't play a major role in the movie, so do not suggest that. But at the same time, I'm not the best writer, but I am a writer. And with every single book that I write, I always make sure that there is something in that book that when I tell someone that I wrote that book, I'm like, yes, I came up with that idea and I put it in there. And I'm not just saying that you should put something in a movie or a TV show just to make it unique. Like, okay, the sun hits the earth because like nothing else was going on. No, not like that. Really think about it, really give me something. And I do know that, movies have mostly become about doing business, but come on, we want to watch good content. So with this, they obviously threw in these safes and they threw in the backstory that continued going on throughout the movie. They didn't just give us, okay, these are the safes, uncrackable, man committed suicide in the last one, get over it. They didn't do that. Every time we were brought in front of a safe, we were told somewhat about the story, and we were told how special these safes are to the people robbing them. Yes, that sounds very toxic, but that is exactly what they did. They were in love and they robbed those exact same safes. And the way that we were told the story, how they showed us the making of those safes, all those close-up shots were truly beautiful. Everything about the movie, the sets, my God, they gave me major London vibes, even though it was Germany, I know. But it was giving me really beautiful vibes. How, he gets out and the weather is all gloomy and he goes into this cafe, gets himself a little muffin, and it was just so cute. As we move into the movie, we are told more about Sebastian's personality and his death-like boredom of a life. And that is what makes him ultimately become a criminal. And I think, that is a fun enough trope for most movies and TV shows. It's been done before, that people are committing crimes and heists just for the fun of it. And I do realize that is a good enough purpose, but for me, I want there to be an actual purpose, an actual reason you're doing this. You're hurting people, you're committing these heists for what? For fun? That's psychotic. So every time I come across characters that are like, okay, I want to become a criminal because I need friends. I want to become a criminal because I'm bored. Join a club. Go play golf. Eat fruit. Sleep. Watch Netflix. There's so many things to do when you're bored. Go have a party. Go on Tinder. Go on blind dates. There's so much to do, and what you need to do is go on heists. You're stealing from people. You're stealing their valuable, their prized possessions because you're bored. You do realize that that those people could need those things. Like, for example, let's say my sister's in the hospital because I don't have a sister. My sister's in the hospital. We need money for her surgery. I take my watch and I decide to sell it. Oh, surprise, surprise, I got robbed on the way. Now my sister's dead and the blood is on your hands. So give me a purpose. So Sebastian, like yours truly, opens YouTube to see if anybody has watched his videos and commented on them. Yeah, I also do that, and thankfully there are always comments. Thank you so much. He also has one comment waiting for him, inviting him over someplace. Can you imagine somebody invites you someplace in the comments and you just go? Boy, are you drunk? Who does that? Oh yeah, bored people. So Sebastian finds himself in this like underground boxing arena, only they're cracking safes, and he is nominated without his consult. I mean, whatever happened to free will apparently was eaten by Free Willy. So he's just standing there and they're announcing like 3, 2, 1, crack! And he just stands there. He just stands there, and I had this like rising anxiety, like, boy, what are you doing? Crack! You know how to crack. You make videos about cracking. You can see other people cracking. You can see there's a competition going on. There's a timer. And yet you're not cracking. So I was like, okay, come on, Sebastian, crack. Sebastian, crack. Sebastian, crack. Sebastian, do crack. If you're not going to crack the saves, do crack. Which brings me to, Sebastian, have you not watched Squid Game? You do know what they do to the people who are eliminated. And yet he was not cracking. But finally he did. Thankfully he did. And like the main character he was, he won. So Sebastian cracks the save, earns a new title, Mr. Nervous, and is being told that he is loved by a lady. I mean, isn't this all of us? We see a man, we just fall in love. What is wrong with us? So he is being loved by people and cheered on by people. People are happy and jolly and making merry. And he went, in that room full of people, I noticed you because you were smiling at me. Are you flirting with me? Sebastian, darling, the rest of the people are laughing and smiling and clapping for you. And yet you notice Gwenleen because she's also smiling? Boy, are you blind? Or did you do crack as I suggested you to do? Anyway, as I expected, he did not went up and talk to the lady and returned home with nothing but an award. Give him some of the bet money at least. I mean, what are you doing to my poor fellow Sebastian? He has no money, he has no fun, he has no views. It's heartbreaking at this point.
I know you stop here between 8:43 and 8:47 every morning, get a banana nut muffin and a coffee, and eat it alone.
Like I always feel like somebody's watching me and he got no privacy. Because Gwendoline is watching him like friggin' Joe Goldberg. And not just that, to add insult to injury, she went, and you come home alone every night. What do you mean by that, Gwendoline? Do you want him to pick up a prostitute on the way? What are you suggesting at? Okay, that was a bad joke. I should not have said that.
This is our last chance to solve it. This window of opportunity isn't just our only chance, it's yours.
My only chance For what?
These 3 dialogues alone had my friend sold. I mean, I literally called her after the trailer released and I was like, okay, she said chance, he said chance, and she said chance. And she was like, I'm in. Let's watch this movie. Because this is something we always talk about. When people keep their pronunciation, no matter whom they're talking to, it's just so impressive. And it's something that I'm unable to do because English wasn't my first language. So every time I'm talking to anyone in any language, after some time, I start talking like them. So it's really impressive for me when people keep their accent. Speaking of keeping accents, he did not keep the coffee stains. Where are the coffee stains? You literally burnt your blonde chest hair and the coffee stains are nowhere to be found. Tired of his yellow life, Sebastian decides to put his life at the palm of his hand. I don't know if that is a pronoun in English or not, but it is in many languages. You put your life in the palm of your hand because, you know, if you run with something on the palm of your hand, the chances of dropping it are higher. So he puts his life in the palm of his hand and decides to go to the flat where Gwendoline told him he can find her. So he goes there and it is this little apartment where there are a lot of cats and a bunch of guys who are all special and all masters in their own fields. So we introduced to the characters and their names are, I didn't make the notes for anything, I will read the names. The names are Rolf, Gwendoline, Brad Cage, and Corina. Yeah, I was like, okay, Corina, Brad, Gwendoline, and none of you want to go out with me? I mean, I do understand that I'm rather innocent and rather funny looking, but does anyone want to have sex? Because I probably would have said that. I mean, I would have had the hardest time deciding whether to go out with Gwendoline or Brad. But then there is, you know, the easiest solution that they would have never asked me out. So, I'm just single. Hi. So we're given backstories and introductions about how Karina hacked into the Pirates of the Caribbean 2. Rolf is a valet, and that literally made me pat myself on the back because I never trust valets with my car keys. Like, you're giving someone your car, how dumb can you possibly be? That just should not exist. Park your own car. That's what I always do. Except I don't drive. That's like what I make people do every time I'm with them. I'm like, we're not trusting the valet. We're parking our car ourselves. That's the one thing that I have learned from Turkish rom-coms. Because in one show, one time, somebody's car got stolen and they never complained about it, never reported to the police because 2 hours later, the car returned. Do you know why? Let me tell you why. Because the robber accidentally hit a lady with the car and that's why he was like, oh my God, what do I do? So he just brought the car back. And later, the case was filed against the car, obviously, and the car owner, obviously, and the boy went down even though he had not hit the lady because there was no report of the car going missing. So, yeah, there was no proof to prove that the boy was innocent. The owner of the car was innocent. Anyway, moving on to Brad Cage, I was like, okay, he is really inspired by Nicolas Cage, and my God, is he inspiring for everyone else? Because when he'd strapped those books to that pole and used that as a weight lift, I could literally hear 5 Minute Crafts saying, write that down, write that down. That's a great hack. I think I should show it in one of my videos. And lastly, we had Gwendoline. But all of that made me question, who's taking care of the cats? Because none of those people look capable enough of taking care of a cat, let alone many cats. Basic intro is done. They sit Sebastian down and tell him about the safes and that all of them are owned by Tanaka. Now, I don't understand what was the purpose of giving him that information. I mean, just should have told him about the plan, about how to get the money out of the safes. But they were just like, okay, this is an American movie and everyone shall know that Asians are really rich and all these safes are owned by a Japanese guy. Might I also mention that I've only known one Japanese guy in my entire life, and his name is also Tanaka. I mean, we've never met, but I've heard a lot about him because my uncle knows him pretty well. So yeah, I only know one Japanese guy through my uncle, and his name is also Tanaka. So they go to Paris for the very first heist, and good God, are movies really informative. Like, we learn about life through movies. Really valuable, life-saving lessons. The one we learned here was that the front door guard must not have the keys to anything. Why did the front gate guard have the keys to every door in the friggin' building? They stole the keys off of him, and he had like a bunch of them. They stole the keys and found themselves opposite the first safe called Reingold. Yes, it is Reingold. They found themselves opposite Reingold. Sebastian takes his sweet time again cracking, my anxiety rising, but I knew that they would succeed. I mean, they wouldn't end the movie at the first heist, come on. Every movie is predictable to an extent. So they're cracking the first one. He tells the entire backstory, turns on music, and I was like, boy, it's not cute at this point. It's getting annoying. Do you want me to punch you in the face? But, you know, I wasn't inside of the screen, so I couldn't punch him in the face. Anyway, he took his sweet time, and finally managed to crack the safe as expected. Before the heist began, they gave Sebastian a pep talk, and after the heist ended, they all sat down in the van again, and she was like, it's that easy. And Sebastian was like, it's that easy? Are you seriously saying that? And I swear to God, my soul left my body for a moment. I was like, oh my God, that was all in their imagination. I was freaking out. And right then they were like, Sebastian, it's already done. And I was like, oh my God, thank God.
And that's that?
That's that.
It cannot be that easy.
Sebastian, it's already done.
Literally, I wrote it down like this. I wrote O-M and I was on G when they said, it's already been done. And I was like, no, we cannot just end at a G. We need to write the entire word. It was like, God, thank God. So I was really thankful that happened. And that's when we were introduced to more characters. There is Delacroix, there is Beatrix, and Ludwig Dieter. The first name that I think we came across in the trailer, because I do not remember saying the word Sebastian through that video, but I do remember coming across the name Ludwig Dieter. It sounds so cool, Ludwig Dieter. I think I could name a character Ludwig Dieter. While he was cracking the first safe, he was like touching it and just, he was like, you know, the safe might crack, like literally break apart if he's not gentle enough. His touch, everything, the way he was just, it was disturbing, but at the same time so beautiful. And when they really focused on him, his pupils were dilated. They were so big. It literally showed how in love he was at that moment. It was literally like going on a honeymoon. He was literally on a honeymoon at that point. He was probably planning a honeymoon and then a wedding and an engagement with that safe. So his pupils were all big and he was slowly cracking it, and he did. And then he tried to kiss Gwendoline. Yeah, good luck with that. How rude of me to not put a box around them. Here we go. That's better. Anyway, ooh, I have another box. This is the most important box because this was on my thoughts the entire time I was watching the movie. So when they introduced the saves, the second save is called Valkyrie, and then the Valkyrie, and the third one is Siegfried. My God, I was like, where have I heard the name Siegfried before? I'm obsessed with names. Yeah, I don't remember them, but I'm obsessed with them. So I was like, okay, where's Siegfried? Where's Siegfried? Where did I hear Siegfried? Was it a movie? Was it a TV show? Was it a book? I literally went through all the books I owned and there was no Siegfried there. I Googled Siegfried. I was like, Siegfried Netflix, Siegfried movie, Siegfried book. And Siegfried, the Siegfried that I was looking for was just not popping up. So finally, I texted my cousin. I was like, is there a Siegfried you know in a book, movie, or TV show? I was just like, my God, wow. So I was losing my head, and that's all I could think of until I went to Safari to try my luck again for the 4th time. I wrote Siegfried, and the words, "The Last Kingdom" came in the suggested, and I was like, that's where we had Siegfried. I could literally hear a British accent saying Siegfried, and I was like, yes, Eric and Siegfried, the Dane brothers. Thank God I got that, or otherwise I would have spent the entire night thinking who the hell was Siegfried. So the army of thieves moves on to their second heist at the Valkyrie safe, and Delacroix is desperate to catch them. Now, when he was driving that car, desperate to catch them, all I could think of was Cinderella 3, when the prince jumped out of the window and the king ran after him and the duke after him, and he was like, "Your Majesty, your bloody pressure." And that's something that you should really focus on. When someone is losing their mind, they not only should they not drive a car, they should also not do many other things, like exercising, because that can give you a heart attack. That's something my mother told me. I was like, do you honestly think I would ever be stressed and I would want to go and work out? I would just go to sleep. I'm a lazy person, Mom.
He's gone completely mad!
Your Majesty!
My son!
Your blood pressure!
First heist done, they come back to Germany, they celebrate and everything, and I thought that the way they started getting along so early just kind of was a bit, odd, because, they were initially shown, the characters were shown as like, really cool people, like the cool kids who don't just talk to everyone. And that's when Karina offers to hook up with Sebastian, and I was like, wow, I did not see that coming. I expected it to happen. I expect it to happen in many movies, but not this movie, and yet it happened. So she offers to, Sebastian to make love, not war. And Sebastian's like, no, I'd rather do it with Gwendoline. And I was like, I'd rather do it with Brad. But yeah, nobody ended up doing it. They just sat down and talked, and how Gwendoline was from a rich family and she just wanted adventure in her life. And of all the people, she thought Brad was the one. Were you on crack? Gwen dear, were you on crack? I took one look at the man and knew he was trouble, 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 trouble. It's just something about trouble that just attracts us. So we go in head first. But Gwen, I thought you were smart. You're not me. Bonding time over, second heist comes along. That is the Valkyrie. So they decide to rob the Valkyrie, and as they move in and they're just like going down the elevator and everything, Sebastian decides now's the perfect time to reveal his teeny tiny big old crush on Gwendoline. Of all times, I understand you're nervous. I do. You decide to tell her that when you know full well that Mr. Alexis can hear you. The man's going to kill you, and he did. He threw you out of the van right after the heist, and that just I saw it coming. I saw it coming. I knew that Brad was gonna come at him, and as that's just, again, something to learn from the movies. If you ever find yourself among a group of people, even if they're your family, do not throw the valuable bag before you throw yourself in, because guess what happens? They would leave you. That's literally the biggest lesson we learned in Hangover 3. You do not give the bag. You go out first, and then you give the bag. That's you do not put your bags in a taxi trunk, because what if the taxi just bolts off? What are you gonna do? Run after it? You cannot run after it. You're not fast enough. You're lazy like myself. So, never give the bag. So basically, after not being pulled onto the van, he saves himself after a really Tom Cruise-ish bike ride. I was like, okay, just jump in the water, jump in the water, jump in the water. But he didn't jump in the water. That man never listens to me. He didn't jump in the water, and yet he managed to save himself, come home. On the other hand, Gwen and Karina left Brad Cage and came back at his flat, decided to convince him to go and rob Siegfried, the Dane brother. So they decided to go and attack on there. And while they were attacking the heist, going on with their heist, I was constantly in this question, why not just go for the police? Why not just go and stand in front of the safes? It's that simple. go inside and protect them. But they answered that question for me, that he did not want the owners to know that he was watching, because that would have resulted in the safes being transported earlier, and his main purpose was not to protect the safes, it was to catch the criminals, Gwen and Brad. So they take the safe, they're transporting it. Apparently the hacker called in and asked them to transport the safe earlier, and they decide to crack it on the way. So they have the safe in this like loaded truck, and Gwen goes, "Can you crack it while I'm driving?" And he says, "Yes, I shall try it." And I was like, "No, you shall not try it, because remember, 70 trillion possible combinations. You're going to try it while the car moves and your hand moves," and the hand moved. But, you know, he gave it a couple of punches like you do with a man dead, and the heart started beating again. Going away from the lead characters, Gwen and Sebastian, the other characters, I just keep forgetting her name. Karina is caught by the guy called Delacroix, and she manages to send text, run, and she crushes the phone. Really bold of her. And I thought that was one moment where we were truly shown that police is also intelligent, and they also have technology, because every single heist movie is like, okay, these heisters are like the best in the world, they have this like Russian hacker, so like nobody can come after them. The government is not technology less. So they were able to catch the hacker, then they caught Brad and Rolf, and then they also caught Gwen and Sebastian. I thought that was the most amazing ending possible, because to show that the government is like literally dumb and the police forces are like good for nothing, they caught the heisters one by one. And even though it did take, you know, the heisters turning against each other, you know, it's again, unity is everything. Together we stand, divided we fall. No, united we stand, divided we fall. Anyway, you get the point. So at the end, they were all caught, but that's when Gwen was like, okay, no, Sebastian, you're a good man. Your life is already boring enough. That does not belong in prison. Just last night, my mother and I were talking about a court case, and I was like, you know, instead of sending some people to jail, especially like young people, they send them to rehab. And my mom was like, no, if you commit a crime, you should pay for it. And I was like, look, I'm only 18. I know good and bad, but sometimes young people especially, they have not had the best upbringing. They don't have the best morals. So they don't need to be kept with criminals to make their condition worse. A mass murderer, a person who kills for fun, and a person who had to kill or who killed in defense should not be kept in the same prison. Not everyone should be punished for their doings. There should be a chance of improvement. So that was it for this video. Really hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, give me a like, also comment below and let me know your thoughts as well as the suggestions, and also subscribe, click the bell so you will be notified every time I upload. And also check out my edits channel. It's at @elnefedits. My Instagram is at @elnef_fox, and my Twitter is at @elneffox. The links to all of them will be in the description box. I'm the only Elnef Fox, and today let me know if you have ever wanted to learn German, and bye.
Baby, please just tell me if I'm fine. Tell me if I'm